How Final Fantasy VII Changed the World. Hello, my name is Rick Henry. I am a student here at Full Sail University in the game design program. I have played video games most of my life, but none have inspired me as much as Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was released in 1997. I had played all the other versions before and already had a love for the game. Final Fantasy VII was going to change the world of video games. With the graphics, music, storyline, and gameplay, the face of role playing games would change forever. In the beginning of the game, the main character, Cloud Strife, an ex soldier gone mercenary, is working with an eco terrorist group, Avalanche, out to take down the ruling government, Shrina. Shrina is using energy from the planet's life stream, known as Mako, to power everything in the world. As the game goes on, Cloud battles with his allies all over the world against enemies from the Shrina army and the planet's creatures. He later runs across another ex soldier known as Sephiroth. Sephiroth was searching out a rare materia called black materia. His plan is to use the black materia to create a weapon to damage the planet bad enough for the planet to create another weapon. Weapons were created 2,000 years previous when Genova landed on the planet. Genova landed on the planet with the plans to release a virus causing its victims to go insane and form strange mutations. Later, Cloud defeats Sephiroth only to find out that the real Sephiroth is in a containment unit with Genova on a research base ran by Shrina. Final Fantasy VII would change the way we looked at RPGs forever in four major ways: visually, musically, gameplay, and storyline. Visually, the cutscenes in the game still compared to some of the PS2, and the game video sequences were no doubt better than anything on the PS1. The soundtrack of the game had many catchy tracks, but other than that, some of the other sound effects were not listenable. Gameplay. This aspect changed drastically from previous versions of the game. It still had a turn based battles, making the battles more intense, keeping the game moving. The way the game was laid out was intuitive, but still given enough depth to the game. For example, you could go anywhere on the map, but you cannot access key points of the game till later in the game. Another thing is the use of materia. Using the materia in the right combination with other equipment, weapons, or characters would help you along your adventure. Storyline. The game created one of the deepest character developments in the history of video games. It also brought a sci fi feel to the game. The story was a very engaging story that can gain the attention of anyone, not just the average RPG geek. How Final Fantasy VII changed my views on video games. Final Fantasy VII was not the first RPG that I played, but it would definitely become a standard for me to compare all other video games towards. I became more engrossed in role playing games and more fantasy reading. Although there are six other versions of the game before this one, I still find it to be the one that changed my views on video games. The game brought more out of me as far as gaming and opened my eyes to the power of storytelling with video games. Many people would agree that Final Fantasy VII was so interesting that even people who didn't play RPGs were playing. From the original release of the game, there has sprung a number of sequels, along with movies and series. There has been other games to do so since Final Fantasy VII, but Final Fantasy VII had changed the face of RPGs and video games overnight. Final Fantasy VII not only inspired more multimedia titles, but it inspired me to go into video games as well. I've always written and decided I could use my writing and creativity to create video games.